We do have a 5-year investment time horizon. The price target for our stock is roughly $2,000, and that's within a range of $1,400 to $2,500, our bear and bull case. We think that the robo-taxi opportunity globally will deliver $8 to $10 trillion in revenue by 2030, and is one of the most important investment opportunities of our lifetimes. And I think one of the reasons for that is it is going to save lives. 80 to 90% of auto fatalities and auto accidents are caused by human error, and autonomous driving is going to take away the human error, we believe. We want Tesla to scale its units because each one of them now represents the potential for a robotaxi and a robotaxi fleet. Now, Elon says it's possible that he could launch that fleet this year. We think it's more like last year. But the robotaxi fleet is really going to be, or the robotaxi service is going to be, from a margin point of view, more like a SaaS business. And so we think that it's very smart to maximize units because they have so much option value now. On the regulatory side, I actually think regulations are working in Tesla's favor. For, I think, roughly 3 decades, the number of auto fatalities in the United States fell to the low 30,000 range per year. And they've turned around in the last 5 years and moved up to 45,000 plus. And I think the pressure is on the National Highway and Transportation Safety Association to change something. So it is looking carefully at Tesla's data. And during Investor Day, Tesla released some data that we don't think many people paid enough attention to. The most important one is that with full self-driving, a Tesla vehicle gets into an accident every 3.2 million miles. And that compares to 1 every 500,000 miles for the average car on the road. In our flagship strategy, which is ARKK, Tesla is our largest holding. But if you look at ARKQ, which is our autonomous technology and robotics strategy, we also own other names like BYD in China. Now, why do we think EVs are the place to be? Well, we are analyzing battery technology, but more important, drivetrain technology, which includes batteries. And if you look at the cost curves associated with drivetrains, what you'll see is that for every cumulative doubling in the number of electric vehicles produced and sold, costs decline by roughly 28%. And it seems as though already the total cost of ownership of an electric vehicle is lower than that of a gas-powered vehicle, which means which helps us understand why last year electric vehicle sales globally were up, I believe it was 62 or 64%, while gas-powered vehicles were down about 7% globally. So the electric vehicle shift is underway. Consumers want electric vehicles, a total cost of ownership cheaper. So last year, there were 7.7 million electric vehicles sold around the world. We think that number is going to 60 million in the next 5 years. Now, the consensus estimate is that it's going to only 20 million. So there's still a big gap between where we are and where the consensus view is. That 60 million, we believe, will account for 75% roughly of all vehicles sold in 5 years. So electric vehicles, very important. Now, many people focused on Asia say, wait a minute, BYD is winning here. And if you look at last year's sales, BYD's sales, if you look at hybrids and battery electric vehicles, they were up 211% to roughly 1.8 million units, whereas Tesla's vehicle sales were only up 40%. And so the question from Asia is, well, isn't BYD ahead of the game here? You might say yes, based on those statistics. But if you take out hybrid vehicles, and we think hybrid is going away. Hybrid is two systems in one, much more complicated, much more costly. And you look on that basis, BYD's pure battery electric vehicle sales last year were 900,000, whereas Tesla's were 1.4 million around the world. But electric is not the whole story here. In fact, from our point of view, when it comes to Tesla, their autonomous strategy, autonomous taxi platforms is much more important than their electric vehicle strategy. In our view, our price target for Tesla, it's a little over $200 now, is 2/3 because of autonomous. And when we listen to BYD, we do not hear autonomous as a strategy. We hear it more with XPeng, but again, they, from a unit volume point of view, are far behind BYD and Tesla. So that's how we're looking at the world right now. I think when you're talking about electric vehicles, you're not talking just about the drivetrain strategies. I think the companies that are going to win, as I mentioned before, are not focused only on electric. They're focused on autonomous, which means they are focused on three of our major innovation platforms. First, robotics. Autonomous vehicles are robots. Second, energy storage. They will be electric because the total cost of ownership now for vehicles is lower for electric than gas powered.